similar.
Yeah, Lily, yeah. Mike, where's our bat mitzvah? She's right there, hanging out. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Lily, more people will come apparently. There's an 18-wheeler blocking traffic in Mountain Brook. As a northerner, I just laugh at the snow, but it's okay. But let's bring up your grandfather, Peter, who will present to you your talit. So you can leave the binder there and come on up.
You can use the binder if you.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Good morning, Lily.
Here, use the mic.
Good morning, Lily. Oops. If I had hair left, this would stay on. You can tell from this cover, this is not a new tallis that you're getting today. This is the tallis that my father, great-grandpa Paul, gave to me. I gave it to your brother Seth, and somewhere inside of here, Grandma put in his name with a camp name tag for in case he was going to lose it, since he lost a lot of things whenever he would go traveling anywhere. So it is not beautiful, but it comes with beautiful memories. And so we would love for you to have it and to be able to wear it. Yes. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher qiddshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hitatef batzitzi.
Amen. There are a lots of ways that you can wrap this, and if it's very cold one day, you can wrap it open, or you can fold it up. But the important thing is to always remember that your family loves you.
I'm going to give you a trick real quick.
That's right.
There you go.
Wonderful.
Okay. We turn to page 290, Matovu. I'm going to fix your collar now for you.
Matovu, ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu, ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ani berov chastecha avo beitecha eshtachavem el heichal kodshecha meiratecha matovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Matovu, ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Continue to the top, bottom of page 291.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, oh well we are aware, we would lack the strength to sustain life before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength.
Amen.
292.
Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorai, ata virata, ata yitzarta, ata nefachta bi. אתה משמרה בקרבי. אלוהי, אלוהי, נשמה, שנתת בי Page 293, we have our blessings for daily miracles, Nisim Bechol Yom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, haolam, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who crowns Israel with splendor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen. We continue with Elu Devarim, the bottom of page 298.
These are things that are limitless, by which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
For those who are able, we rise together, 301.
Baruch she'amar v'haya haolam, Baruch hu. Baruch oseh v'reshit, Baruch omer ve'oseh. Baruch kozer umkayim, Baruch merachem al haaretz. Baruch merachem al habriot, Baruch meshalem sachar tov lireiav. Baruch chai la'ad v'kayam la'netzach. Baruch podeh umatzil, Baruch shemo. יחיד כעולמים, מלך משובח ומפואר, עדי עד שמו הגדול, ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מחולל בתשבחות.
Please be seated. We continue on page 310.
שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו, בכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני, לישרים נם ותהילה, בפי ישרים תתעלה, ובדברי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנבלעות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך מלכי העולמים. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון ויומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ומזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשם. בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן מעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
And we rise, the top of page 313.
Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Baruch את אדוני המבורך. ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד. המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד.
Continue in the bottom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, osei shalom uvarei et hakol hama'ir la'aretz, v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uvetuvo mechadesh b'chol yom ta'amid ma'aseh v'reshit, ma rabu ma'asechach Adonai kulam b'chochma asita, malah ha'aretz kinyanecha. Tiparach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha v'al me'orei or, Shasita Yavarucha Sela, or Chadash al Tzion Te'ir, V'nizkei Chulanu Mehira Le'oro, Baruch Atah Adonai, Yotzer Ham Orot, page 316.
Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola B'Teira Chamalta Aleinu Ahava Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola B'Teira Chamalta Aleinu Ba'avur Avoteinu Me'imoteinu Shebatchu Becham Batelamtei Chukei Chayim Kein Techoneinu Utelamdeinu Kein Techoneinu Utelamdeinu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gedola B'Teira Chamalta Aleinu Chemla Gedola Ha'erinenu b'toratecha v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha meyached levaveinu le'ahava u'l'yira et shemecha b'lo nevosh b'lo nikalem b'lo nikashem Shem Kodshecha Hagadol v'hanora patachnu Nagila v'nismecha Nagila v'nismecha B'shuatecha Baruch ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Page 319.
Love Adonai your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children, talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God.
We continue 321.
Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
On the next page, Rami Chomocha, 322.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות עושה בלב, נורא תהילות עושה בלב, אדוני מלוך לעולם בעד. שיר החדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני מלוך לעולם בעד. יאי די 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 די, יאי די 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 די, יאי די 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 די, יאי די 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 די. צור ישראל, קומה, קומה, בעזרת ישראל ופדי חינומך יהודה בישראל גואלנו, גואלנו, גואלנו צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני נעל ישראל.
We rise together for our tefillah 324.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וכרז אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור בדור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Those who keep Shabbat by calling it delight will rejoice in your realm. The people that hallow Shabbos will delight in your goodness, for being pleased with the seventh day. You hallowed it as the most precious of days, drawing our attention to the work of creation. Yismichu right there at the top, 329.
Is ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת מקדשי מקדשי שמי שבת כולם יספרו יתענגו מטובך שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
Page 330.
On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true of our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence.
Page 334.
Shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uveracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha sim shalom sim shalom Baruch atah Adonai hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a few moments for silent meditation. Shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu be'al kol Yisrael me'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu be'al kol Yisrael be'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu be'al kol Yisrael be'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav uyase shalom aleinu be'al kol Yisrael be'imeru amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Our Torah portion for this week is called Parshat Vayikra, which is the first Parshat in the name of the third book of the Torah, the book of Leviticus. In this Parshat, it is important to remember that it was written down several thousands of years ago. It tells the story of how Moses led his people during the years before they entered the Promised Land, Israel, established their communities, and built the temple. Parshat Vayikra tells us that God spoke to Moses and gave instructions about how to prepare sacrifices brought as an offering to be burned at the altar. Sacrifices were presented to the priests from members of the community who wanted to atone for their sins. Moses' older brother, Aaron, was to serve as the first high priest, and his descendants became the priests in the temple when the Jews reached Israel. The Jews were not the only one who practiced sacrifices of animals and other food to the gods they worshipped. Many groups did at the time. The great medieval rabbi and physician Maimonides explains that using sacrifice as an early form of worship may have helped the Jewish people not feel so different from the other people around them. This section of the Torah makes it clear how people who sinned against God needed to atone through sacrifice. There were different requirements for those with higher positions, and it also addresses the sacrifices the person must make to atone for the crimes against another person of the community. The practice of sacrifice of food lasted until the destruction of the Second Temple in 17 CE. Without a temple, there were no priests to accept the offerings and burn them on the altar. People could, did, and will continue to sin. Our rabbis have found different ways to teach us that sins against God and sins against others must be addressed if we want to live full and good lives. According to the Israeli biblical scholar and commentator Nechami Leibowitz, many believed that prayer was better than sacrifice as a form of worship. Many of the beliefs of prayer is that it can be done anywhere. One of the benefits of prayer is that it can be done anywhere, without traveling to a temple. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, one of the most important rabbis during the first century, was said to have told his students that doing kind deeds was equal to sacrifice and atoning for sins. I believe prayer is a good way to worship and atone to God for our sins. First, it can be done anywhere. This allows us to stay connected to God no matter where we are. Second, it can also be made personal. Unlike food sacrifices that are very rigid, prayer can be whatever we want it to be to help us to connect to our faith and beliefs in a way that is meaningful to us as individuals. Sacrifices were for more than worship and atoning to God. They were also used to atone to other people for wrongs we have committed. I believe that doing good deeds is one of the best ways to atone. By helping others in our community, we can give back and make up for the negative things we have done. I also believe it's important to apologize. These things are not only important to the person we hurt, they're also important to us as the wrongdoer. We can only move on and grow once we've apologized and atoned. The world has changed since the words of the Torah were first written years ago. I think that we should be grateful that our ancestors struggled with these problems and provided answers that made sense not only in the time when they lived, but still provide guidance today. So remember, if we hurt someone but never take the time to think about why it was wrong, both you and the person you hurt are affected. Then if we do not go the extra step of reaching out and asking for forgiveness, which is the essence essence of Yom Kippur, you carry that burden with you longer than you may think. The Torah reads like a series of stories. It has lasted this long because the rules and advice it provides continue to be important today, even as we adapt it to fit our modern world and lives. I learned from my parsha how the rabbis used the hardship of the destruction of the Second Temple and found a way to make prayer replace sacrifice. Shabbat Shalom.
With the spirit of learning, we now move to our Torah service on page 368. For the honor of opening the ark, we welcome Lily's brother Sam to the Bima and Lador Vador from generation to generation. I want to acknowledge Lily's grandmother, Sari, whose leg, we're thinking of you. I know you're watching in spirit and you're standing here in spirit. You're with us. But we're going to welcome in the tangible sense her grandfather, Peter, and her parents, Alyssa and Grant. And for those who are able, we rise together.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kemasecha, malechutecha malechut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha mechol dor v'dor. Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Meloch leolam va'en, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Av harachamim heitiva v'irtzonecha et Tzion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki mecha levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nisa adon olamim, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Mitzion tetzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
Lily, we are so incredibly proud of you today. You have worked hard to get to this moment, just as you work hard in every aspect of your life. Your unbelievable work ethic is impressive, but what makes us especially proud each and every day is your heart. You are kind, you are empathetic, you take the time to understand people and situations instead of jumping to conclusions. You give help to those who ask and to those who are unable or afraid to ask. And these are the values of Judaism that we are especially proud that you have embraced. Never let go of that. Never stop loving and caring. Never forget who you are and what you mean to everyone in your life.
You shared a number of beautiful poems a few weeks ago at the Fine Arts Night at school, and one in particular jumped out in changes. As you put it, some things stay the same, but most things change in life. You are absolutely right. Embrace change. Explore and continue to challenge yourself, but also remember that some things do stay the same, and it is okay to hold on to familiar even as you continue to discover new things.
You are already developing your own unique Jewish identity through family celebrations, your Jewish education, and through your summer spent at Jewish summer camp. Continue to forge your own path and know that if you follow that amazing heart of yours, you can't go wrong. Love you, Lily.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema shemo yachtav. Lecha Adonai hagedula vehagebura vehatiferet vehanetzach vehahod. Kichol bashamayim ubaretz, kichol bashamayim ubaretz. Adonai hamamlacha ve'amitnasei lechol lerosh.
Once again, our Torah portion for the Shabbos, Parshat Vayikra, and for those who want to follow in the Torah service, we have our Plout commentaries in the back of the sanctuary.
For our first Aliyah, we invite up our friends Samantha Loss and Andrea Schwartz.
Ta'amdu l'aliyah laTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayikra el Moshe. Vayidaber Adonai elav me'ohel moed lemor. Daber el bnei Yisrael ve'amarta alehem Adam ki akriv mikem korban l'Adonai min habehema min habakar umin hatzon takrivu et korbanchem imola Krivenu min habakar, zachar tamim yakrivenu, el petach ohel moed yakriv oto, lirtzono lifnei Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. For our second Aliyah, we invite up Lily's grandfather, Pete Weber, to the Torah. Ya'amod l'Aliyah la Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher barucha banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'samach yado al rosh ha'olah, v'nirtza lo lechaper alav, v'shachat ואת בן הבקר לפני אדוני, והקריבו בני אהרון הכהנים את הדם, וזרקו את הדם על המזבח סביב, אשר פתח אוהל מועד, והפשיט את העולה, וניתח אותה לנתחיה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacha banu, asher natanu lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. For our third Aliyah, we invite up Lily's parents, Alyssa and Seth, to the Bima. Ya'amdu l'Aliyah la Torah.
Baruch Adonai.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. V'natnu b'nei Aharon haKohen esh al hamizbeach ve'orcho etzim al ha'esh ve'orcho b'nei Aharon haKohanim et הנתחים את הראש את השם ואת הפדר על העצים אשר על האש אשר על המזבח בקרבו וכרעיו ירחץ במים והקטיר הכהן את הכל המזבחה עולה אישי ריח ניחוח לאדוני.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. And for our final aliyah, the moment of becoming bat mitzvah, we invite up our bat mitzvah herself. Ta'amod laila perach bat chaya rachel aliyah la Torah bat mitzvah. Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Theme min hatzon korbano min hakesavim omin ha'izim le'olah zahar tamim yahrivenu. Vishahat oto al yereh hamizbeach safona lifnei Adonai. Vizarku b'nei ha'aron ha'ko'anamim et damo amizbeach saviv. V'nata o lintaha v'yet v'yosho v'yet Pedro v'harach ha'kohen olam ha'etzim asher ha'esh asher hamizbeach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hei olam nata b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Amen. Big Yasher Koach.
As the Torah is with our presence, we think of those in our community, those who are in need of healing of body or spirit. We especially think of Linda Applebaum, Margaret Bell, Harold Seitlin, Deborah Chagua, Arit Cohen, Karen Edwards, Bruce Fleissig, Edward Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldman, Sandra Goldman, Miriam Goldstein, Josie Hatfield, Abraham Hausman Weiss, Emily Held, Evelyn Held, Donald Himmel, Ralph Holtzman, Corey Kessler, Bart Kolber, Jerry Lapidus, Marlene Meyerson, Zane Monlick, Susan Schumann, Leslie Simon, Christy St. Charles, Don St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, Kel Wright, and Edgar Zimmerman. For those with us this morning, if you are thinking of a loved one or friend and wish to share a name out loud, we invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. We turn to the middle of page 371 for our Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
For the honor of lifting the Torah, we welcome back Lily's grandfather, Peter, to the bima. We rise together. All right, you know how to do this?
B'zot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael, al pi Adonai beyad Moshe. Ay 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 ay
Every week, in connection to our Torah portion, we read a segment from one of the books of prophets. And it is often thematically related to our Torah portion. So this week in our Torah portion, when mostly we are discussing burnt offerings and sacrifices to God at our temple and our tabernacle, in connection to that, in our Haftarah portion, in the book of Isaiah, Isaiah speaks to the people Israel and speaks to them of offerings of the heart, given that the temple had been destroyed, as a way of replacing their burnt offerings. So Lily will read from our book of Isaiah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nviim tovim v'rotzav v'divrahem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah uv'Moshe avdo v'Yisrael amo uv'nviei ha'mitzvah tzedek.
Amen.
Listen to me now, O Jacob, my servant, Israel, my chosen one. Thus says the Eternal One, your Maker, who formed you from the womb, and will help you. Have no fear, Jacob, my servant. Jerushan, my chosen one, as I pour water on thirsty soil and streams on dry ground, so will I pour my spirit on your descendants, my blessing upon your offspring. They shall flourish amidst the grass, like willows by watercourses. One shall say, I am the Eternal's, and take the name Jacob. Another shall write for the Eternal on his hand, and be known as Israel. Thus says the Eternal One, Israel's sovereign and Redeemer, the God of heaven's hosts. I am the first, I am the last, there is no God but me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolamim surah kol haolamim sadiq b'chol hadavar ha'el hane'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdober u'mkayim shekol devrav emet v'tzedek al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al ha'neviim v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha likavod ol tifaret ol hakol Adonai Eloheinu enachnu modim lach umverhim otach ibrashim ha'befi kol hai tamid le'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai v'kadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen. Yasher Tovach.
We rise together as we return the Torah back to the ark.
Yehallelu et Shem Adonai ki niskav shemo levado oto al eretz b'shamayim bayarem keren le'amo tehila lechol chasidav libnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz chaim hilamachazikim bam metomche hameushar teracheha darchei noam mechol netivoteha shalom shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha menashuva chadesh yameinu kekedem.
On behalf of Cantor Whitner, our senior staff, our board of directors, Lillian, beautiful name, we want to say Yashikov and Mazel Tov on such a wonderful job this morning. So on behalf of our board of directors, we have a few gifts for you. Don't worry, we're not going to make you do more, I promise. So in here you'll find a few certificates. The first, it's really important, and we were concerned with the weather, if this day was going to happen, but the show must go on. It's your certificate of Bat Mitzvah, and we hope that you will frame this and remember all the hard work that you did. In addition to that, you'll find some gift certificates, we can call them, to be used towards any form of a adventure, a study in Eretz Yisrael, Midat Yisrael, the state of Israel, your indigenous homeland. So go there, thrive, and use these certificates on behalf of the movement to go and be in Israel. In addition to that, on behalf of the Graffin Endowment Fund, they have a scholarship that you can use towards any form of Israel or camp. In here, I hope I get this right, I'm usually right 50%, on behalf of our brotherhood and sisterhood, I believe there's an incredible tzedakah box. Sometimes I say candlesticks, but I believe it's a tzedakah box moving forward. Okay. Do you remember when I had you look at the Torah now, the first word of your Torah, of the Torah portion, Vayikra, they had a small letter, an aleph. The font size was smaller, okay, compared to the rest of the letters. So if we were to open up the Torah again, and for you to see this, for some reason, every single Sefer Torah around the world, the aleph, the last letter of the first word, is small. And our rabbis from 2,000 years ago wanted to know why this letter was smaller compared to the rest of the word. So the teaching goes from our great rabbis that when Moses received the Torah from God and he was writing it down, the reason why he wanted us to put a small aleph, Vayikra, and he called, was to teach humility, was to teach kindness, that the Jewish people are supposed to be humble and kind and live righteous lives, even though we are imperfect, that we strive to do our best. And Lily, when we first met, you were somewhat nervous, but then you seized it. You wanted to learn. And the root, the Hebrew word aleph, also means to study and to learn. And you did everything you could to get to this moment to study and to learn. And I want this day, this moment, this bat mitzvah to empower you that with hard work, with passion, you can do everything. And your parents are cavelling, your grandmother's watching on TV, they're all thrilled with such nachas and joy, and you did it. You are a Jewish adult, and we are so proud of you. And I ask the congregation to rise once more as we take Lillian before the ark for some private blessing.
To a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech lecha. And all shall praise your name. The place that I will show you. Lesimchat chaim, lesimchat chaim, lesimchat chaim, lechi lach. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Remain standing, Elenu 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to all of us and to all of humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss. We meditate on the meaning of life and death. On this Shabbat, we recall the yortzites of Bernice Ayland, Edith Perlman Allen, Ida Eisenberg Bronstein, Louis Bressler, Oscar Cohen, Arnold Cotton, Helen Ruth Damsker, Martha Marty Shelnut Dillard, William Epstein, Lena Feidelson, Morris Feldman, Sarah Ann Fierman Polimus, Celia Wasserman Gamberg, Bessie Weiner Gold, Dave Goldberg, Albert Goldman, Minnie Goldner, Hyman Goldstein, Florence Roth Goldstein, Melvin Goldstein, Lillian Goldstein, Edward Goldstone, Robert Scott Gordon, Herman Gottlieb, Frumi Dorfman Harris, Minnie S. Holzer, Edward S. Hyman, Sylvia Berger Kalin, Doris Kander, Mary Karnofsky, Carrie Lazarus, Rebecca Malkov Leader, Ida Leland, Harry R. Lick, Audrey Luger, Duke Marlowe, Barbara Wertheimer Marks, Lee Randall McDonald, Harry Moore, Lena W. Meyer, Lil Austin, Alan H. Pines, Linda Gottlieb Pleiner, Annie Rips, Annie Rittenbaum, Rose Mayberger Rubin, Walter Rosenbaum, Ida Rosenthal, Irving Russell, Toby Safras, Edward Schoen, Bernice K. Schulwolf, Dave Solomon, Meyer Staff, Burkhard Steiner, Helene Mannheimer, Tuckholz, Ida Van Balen, Leo Wald, Isidore T. Wheel, Sarah Weinstein, Annabelle L. Weinstein, and Leslie Hirsch Whitston. Our heartfelt condolences in the recent passings of Terry Aronoff, mother of Hillary, grandmother of Harris, Ainsley and Skylar Gawant, Jackie Blue, aunt of Judith Denson, Dr. Charlie Brown, father of Ellen Stein, Larry Stephen Cohn, uncle of Danny Cohn and great uncle of Nora Miller Cohn, Sissy Held, wife of Leonard and mother of Jerry Held, Karen Allen, grandmother of Brian Held, Elisa Nelson, Lane Held, great-grandmother of Reed Nelson, Morgan Nelson, Alexa Nelson, and Jace Held. And Lillian, you've so beautifully honored the memories of Barbara Schwartz, Louis Schwartz, Paul Weber, and Howard Lenhoff. May all their memories forever be a blessing. We rise together as a united congregation, our Mortar's Kaddish 598. Yikadal, Vikadash, Shemei Rabbah, Biomad, Ivrach, Yoteva, Amlich, Malchute, Bechayachon, Uvyomechon, Ukayet, Uchol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Uzman, Kariv, Yimru.
Amen.
Yehei, Shemei Rabbah, Mevarach, Le'olam, Olamei Almayah. Yiparach, V'yishtabach, V'yitba'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaled, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudsha,
Barichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram yoma v'yimru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yam kol Yisrael, v'yimru. Amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu v'yam kol Yisrael, v'yimru. Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ne'imeru. Amen.
We welcome back Lily, her siblings, all of her friends, all the kids. Please come and join us on the bima as we conclude with Ein Kelohenu 626. Come on, guys.
Ein Kelohenu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemalkeinu, ein Kemoshienu, mi Eloheinu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kemalkeinu, mi Kemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Ruata Anai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Bara Parei Hagafen.
Take a sip.
Amen.
That's enough.
L'chaim.
That's enough. Hold this up. Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Eat it. You got it. Make it. Not the whole. Take a bite and tear it. Pass it around. Shabbat shalom,
Good
everybody.
Shabbos.
All right.